Hey, I'm Anthony Barone-Cole, and this is my book launch at Queen of Angels Catholic Store in Jacksonville, Florida. We are on the outside. We're going to work our way in, and we actually have with us, to start, Christy, the owner of Queen of Angels. Christy, how long have you been here in Jacksonville doing this?
On the store, almost 6 years. The store was in existence before, so we're coming up on our 20th anniversary.
Well, it is wonderful to have a bookstore in Jacksonville, and after you. My wife, Elisa, is behind the camera tonight. We have folks who are going to be joining us as they are logging in. It's nice to just give a little tour. Who are you guys?
I'm Anthony.
Anthony, another Anthony. And you are the grandson of the bookstore owner. Well, welcome. And it's a beautiful bookstore here. We've got customers in for a special event today. They're doing here the John Paul II Feast Day. And so all of these folks are going to hopefully have a ticket. Everybody here, hopefully you guys have a ticket for your free giveaway that we're going to do at the end of the book launch. Natalie, working behind the counter here. Andrew, who's been heading up the event today. And working our way back. One of our other authors here signing books today is Benjamin with his beautiful Palabra de Dios. So we've got Nancy Murray books here also. You can see all the beauty of this bookstore. Next to me is Jacqueline Brown, another member of our Writers Guild and author of many different series. The Light is what she's most known for, perhaps. But doesn't she have a brand new book out, Jacqueline Brown? Altered. There you go.
Brand new one.
So it's like a book launch for a lot of different people.
That's right.
And this is my area. So we are just about to get started then. Let me do this for a second. And this is my wife, Elisa, who's behind the camera. And who helped me set all this stuff up. All right, so, and I also want to thank Kathy Nipper, who is on the line with Loyola, and is going to help us figure out who's going to be the winner of our book giveaways today. And she's also going to work the Q&A session. So what I'm going to do is just spend a few minutes talking about the Harwood Mysteries, including, of course, the one that is launching this week, which is The Merchant's Curse. This is a series that takes place in 12th century England. It is meant for teenagers, ages 10 and up, but I've had adults and college students and a lot of other people say they really enjoy the series. So it is about a boy in 12th century England. He gets orphaned and he winds up at a Benedictine abbey. And that is the premise of book one, Shadow in the Dark, which was released by Loyola in 2020 in July. And so in this book, Zan, who's my main character, his village gets attacked by bandits. And he winds up at this Benedictine abbey, Harwood Abbey. And in fact, he is orphaned there. And he meets his friend Lucy. And together they wind up having to solve a spooky mystery. What is this very spooky looking angel of death kind of figure who is roaming about the abbey's grounds? Meanwhile, the abbey's getting attacked by bandits and all sorts of things. So book one is the introduction to the series. Book two, which came out in 2021 in February, is The Haunted Cathedral. In this book, Zan and Lucy, who are pictured on the cover here, wind up traveling to Lincoln, where they are investigating whether or not Lincoln Cathedral is in fact haunted by the ghost of a little girl. And actually, you can even see the alleged ghost on the cover here. Beautiful artwork that Loyola Press put together on these covers. Book three, which was released later in 2021, is called The Fire of Eden. And in this book, Zan and Lucy wind up traveling to a Grinton Priory, and a jewel is stolen, and they have to figure out who stole the jewel. And so that's the big mystery there. And there's this kind of really spooky magician-looking guy here, the magician, who is in fact one of the main suspects for the jewel heist. So all of that was a prelude to book 4, which is what we have going on here today. Just trying to make sure that we've got Kathy on the line there. All right, excellent. So book 4 is The Merchant's Curse, and this literally just released today, this week in fact, and so today's our official book launch. And what we've got is, you can see this witch on the cover, this witchy woman in Lincoln. Does she in fact wind up cursing Zan's uncle's business partner? Because Zan is with his uncle in Lincoln. And Zan and Christina, who's the main character, or the main girl character in book 4, they are the ones trying to figure out this mystery. Is she a witch? Did she curse the man? How can they save the man's life? And there's a lot of other things that are going on in book 4. So very happy. Loyola did a great job. Well, one of the other things I'll show you is at the beginning of each of the books, actually, we have a really nice map that Loyola put together of what we call Zan's World. You can see all of the main locations of the series are in this map of 12th century England. And they even have another map in book 4 of Lincoln. So each of the books has kind of their own special map. So thanks to Loyola, wonderful job with putting these books together. These books are all very clean fiction. They have a lot of family values. They deal with a lot of themes, coming of age themes, themes about vocation. What does God want me to do in my life? And each of the books also deals with a different kind of a value. So like book 1 is about suffering and death. Book 2 has forgiveness as a key issue. Book 3 deals with the issue of pride. And book 4 actually deals with the issue of vanity. And I especially relied on the book of Ecclesiastes for some of my themes in book 4, which of course Ecclesiastes is the one where King Solomon says vanity of vanities at the very beginning of the book. And so that theme kind of runs through the book. So, all right, so that's the series. One of the things I wanted to do today was to read an excerpt from book 4, just to give you a flavor of the book. And then we're going to do some Q&A if any of the folks actually located in the bookstore have any questions about the series or questions for me. And then folks online too, if you have a question, just type it in the chat box and Kathy will relay that to me. And then after we do our Q&A, we'll finish up with a free drawing or giveaway. So all right. So let me, without further ado, put on my reading glasses and move to The Merchant's Curse. So just to set the scene up real quick, again, the theory here is that this woman has apparently cursed the business partner to Zan's uncle. Which is causing all sorts of problems. So what Zan has done is he has decided to confront this witchy woman to find out who she is and whether she would be willing to reverse this curse if that's what's happened here. So in the scene I'm about to read, Zan basically has found this woman and he's going to try to approach her and reason with her before any violence has to occur in order to solve the problem. So that's the scene we're setting up here. All right, so I'm starting on page 98 here. Zan grasped the abbot's whittled cross and prayed, begging God to send guardian angels to protect him from this evil, and even asking that the witch's wicked soul might somehow be saved from hell. Then he took his first steps, slowly and silently. The witch saw him immediately, as though she'd known his precise location before he'd ever taken a step. She stopped pacing and she leaned against a stump, and with unblinking eyes she peered at him without protest, allowing him to approach her position. "I come in peace," he said, when he'd gotten close enough to speak. She grinned, but still said nothing, permitting him to draw nearer. In her right hand she held a wooden cup with the bony claw of a chicken sticking out of it. Perhaps the hen's leg she'd cut at the poulterer's shop. Watery blood dripped from the side of the cup. That too could be from the same chicken. Perhaps the very hen's blood that she'd taken from the wooden tray the day she'd cursed Godric. "I have been waiting your arrival, boy." Her voice was low and her shoulders stooped. "I saw ye the other night by that ruined cathedral, and the other day at the poulterer." She smirked. "And I saw ye searching for me yesterday all over Lincoln." How could she have seen him? Surely he and Simon would have spotted a hobbling woman following them around the city. If she'd seen him, it must have been through some power of the devil. She truly must have the power of foresight. "I only come to ask a favor of you," he said, squeezing tighter on the cross. "That man you cursed the other day, he has repented of his mocking." This seemed to please her. Her smile widened, revealing rotting teeth. "But now 'tis time to reverse your spell. You have shown your power and taught a mighty lesson. He will not repeat his offense in the future." "You are right, boy," she said. "A dead man cannot mock me." He took a deep breath. This was the time when he must give the witch a Solomon's choice. And from there, he attempts to reason with her some more, and I'll leave the rest for you to read yourself. So, all right, so there's an excerpt of The Merchant's Curse. Again, this is our book launch party at Queen of Angels Bookshop. Those of you who are in the store, if you want to gather closer for our Q&A session, and Kathy online, if she has any questions, what we'll do is we'll take a question from in the store, a question from online, and if we have a few questions, we'll handle that, and then we will go to our free giveaway. Anybody here want to have any questions for me, or
How scary are the books?
how scary are the books? That is an excellent question. So the books are good for kids age 10 and up. So there are definitely some spooky scenes. Like I just was reading you one of the more spooky scenes in this book that probably a really little kid might get scared about. But they're suspenseful. But if you're 10 years old, you'll be able to handle this. There's no explicit violence. There's no foul language or anything like that. So it is definitely family friendly. That is an excellent question. Kathy, online, does Kathy have any questions in the chat box for me? And I don't know if hey Kathy, I don't know if you can hear me on this. If you have any questions, go ahead and speak them out and I'll answer them. Technical difficulty. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So when is book 5 coming out?
Yes, book 5. The question is, when is book 5 coming out? And not surprisingly, book 5 has already been written. It's actually at Loyola Press. I don't know when the release date is coming, but it should be in 2023 sometime. Probably about the same time of year, probably about a year from now. So yeah, and I'm hoping, I'm going to start writing book 6 here in a few months, and I'm hoping we're at least going to have 6 books in the series, perhaps more. Other questions in here?
What inspired you to write the first book? How did you think of Harwood Mysteries?
What inspired me to write the first book and Harwood Mysteries? Thank you, Jacqueline. So we were a homeschooling family, and at the time I started writing Shadow in the Dark, I had a 12-year-old son. This was also when Harry Potter was very big, and I thought, it would be really cool if we could have a series that had the same vibe as Harry Potter, but also, would be able to bring out good family values, good Christian themes, and things like that. And so that was sort of my inspiration. I was working with my son AJ very closely, especially with book 1, to try to figure out what would be a good storyline that a teenager would like. Of course, the stories have developed a lot since then, but my son, who is now much older than 12 years old, still reads all of my books before they are in final draft and gives me a lot of good feedback and has been responsible for changing a lot of some of the details in some of the stories. So thank you, AJ, for that. Kathy, are there any other questions online?
Yes, we have a question from Amy. How do you do the historical research?
How do I do the historical research? Question from Amy online. Excellent question, thank you. I am not a history guy. I had to do a lot of research, both in the library when I first started and online since then. And ultimately, I had to consult an expert. So I always like to yell a shout out to Dr. Jennifer Paxton from Catholic University of America. She is a professor who specializes in 12th century English monasticism, which is exactly what I needed. And so, especially with book 1, Dr. Paxton worked very closely with me for a while to try to get some of the details right on that one. And I'm very thankful for that. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool history in these books and things that are going on at the time that the books are written. I'm actually leading up to the Third Crusade. If we ever have a book 7 in this series, it's going to be in the Third Crusade with King Richard the Lionheart. But there's all sorts of cool things going on. Saladin is attacking Jerusalem at the end of book 4. We've got Henry II, King Henry II, and the martyrdom of Thomas Becket that goes on early in the series here. So lots of cool historical events. Anybody else in the room here have a question?
She had a question.
Grant's trying to throw Grandma under the bus.
Yeah, there you go. Well, does your did the process of writing the books, you think, affect your full-time job?
So I am a full-time law professor actually at Ave Maria School of Law, and I have to do most of my work, and over the years, I've been working on these books now for 15, 20 years, and I've always had full-time employment. My wife can attest to this, or at least maybe she can attest to it, because I was usually doing my writing at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. And so I'd get up at the crack of dawn when everybody was sleeping, and I'd write for a few hours. And that was my modus operandi for quite a number of years. And then she'd wake up, and then I'd stop, right? So no, thankfully it hasn't had a negative impact. In fact, Ave Maria, as you guys probably know, is a very faithful Christian Catholic university, and I know a lot of my colleagues are very supportive of this series too. So, thank you. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, do you know, does it appeal more to guys, fellows, than it does girls, or are both interested?
I am so glad you asked that question. Is this a series just for teenage boys? Absolutely not. In fact, I mentioned Lucy and Christina. They are my 2 female characters. Lucy is present especially in 1, 2, and 3. Christina is, she's got the entire spotlight in book 4, and she's also introduced in book 2. They're really good girl characters. In fact, I even wrote a series of Lucy short stories. You can get them on Kindle. You can also get some free copies if you go to my website, anthonykolenc.com. I'm giving away some Lucy short stories because I also wanted our girl readers to get some of Lucy's background. So yeah, it's good for girls, it's good for boys. Loyola Press was very insistent that they did not want a series that was just going to appeal to boys. And I thought that was, of course, the right call on that. Thank you. Great question on that. Kathy, are there any other questions in the chat box?
We don't have anything in the chat box, but I remember you and I were talking, Tony, and we had discussed a couple of questions that some of your readers had, and I can't remember the last one that we talked about.
Ooh, you got me on that one too.
Was it character-driven?
The characters. As far as the characters in this book, I think the question you had asked about, Kathy, was, are the characters based on anybody that I know in real life? And in reality, in fact, most of these characters probably have a little piece of me in them. If you talk to most authors, they'll tell you, most of their characters seem to have pieces of them. So I didn't actually base any of my characters on anybody I know personally, although I have a feeling, there are some people I paid some homage to. I won't name them here, but some of the names in the book actually are, inspired by some folks that I've known throughout my life. And there are, I think, pieces of people that I've known, but I didn't take any one character and be like, okay, Zan is my son, or anything like that. I didn't do that. So, all right. My wife was going to tell me something. What's sweetie?
Tickets.
Oh, yes. All right. So if there aren't any other questions, I think it's time for the giveaway. We've got, where's our basket? Here. Okay. Did everybody here get a chance to get a ticket? Put their name in for the giveaway. All right. I have got tickets in here. Folks who are online, we had somebody diligently getting your names and handwriting them on these tickets. So I am going to not pick it myself. I'm going to have Andrew pick the ticket for me. Andrew, close your eyes. Reach in and grab one of these. There you go. All right. Ooh, this is a really random one. All right, let me see what you got there. This looks to be somebody who must be in the store because it's not a name. So here, I'm going to call out the number. The last 4 digits are 1529.
Me.
It's her.
Yes.
Colleen Rooney. You have won an entire free series, which I will sign for you before you leave today, of all 4 books. So, sorry folks online. Next time, book 5, book launch. Come back.
All right.
All right, well, that is about all we have for today. Again, I just want to thank Loyola Press. I want to thank Christy at Queen of Angels Bookstore, Andrew, Natalie, all of the workers here, my wife, of course, Elisa, who's been doing all this wonderful filming and setting up, and all you folks who are here for the book launch and for the John Paul II event. Thank you. God bless you. Kathy, I didn't thank Kathy. Kathy, thank you also. And God bless you all, and have a wonderful John Paul II feast.
Okay, so now this is the moment we're going to pick the winner of the raffle, and the winner, you will get this. So listen up when I pick out the ticket. Listen up and look at your tickets that you have at home and see if your number matches. Pick from the bottom here and make it fair. Just get a little supplement. Pick one. Okay, if you have raffle ticket number 14, aka 014, you are the winner of our Feast Day raffle prize this year. So, congratulations for the ticket number 14, whoever has that ticket. Okay. And thank you everyone for coming to the Feast Day party.